Dawn Command fall in for continuation. I know I said last time we did the continuation. This is the conclusion of Mission 002. But fall in for Operation Emberfall. Conclusion of Mission 002. I'm a professional at this. I never mess up. It's good to see you all. As you can see, we only have half of our wing today. Eliza, as she has stated publicly, is in recovery from surgery. Eliza, we love you. We can't wait to see you again. We know you're doing better. You're in our thoughts. Love you, girl. Revity is sick. Not COVID. She's just a little sick. She's a little under the weather today. But that is a perfect opportunity to zero in on half of the wing, the intelligence half of the wing, if you will, since these are the two who utilize intelligence cards. So we'll be zeroing in on one part of the events of tonight. And then on the next mission, which will not be next week, because here in America, we have sort of a big thing going on next week. Please vote, please vote, please vote. If you haven't voted already, vote now. There's a million resources. There's a million annoying videos from all your favorite influencers and some of your least favorite influencers on how to do this. Please go vote. We have a strong military theme in this game here. I and many people who are participating in this game, both as viewers and as your game marshal, voting, it means a lot to us. I don't care what you vote for. Just please vote. Exercise that freedom, because never trust the people in power who would try to take that away from you. Soapbox step down. We will be taking next week off to allocate for that. By the way, props to my employer, Twitch. We have a global no work day next week to allocate for voting. I encourage all employers and managers to allow all reasonable means for your employees and your teammates to go vote and take part in the democratic process. But beyond that, we have a game to get through tonight, an important part of our game, a transitionary moment of our game. Before we get into it, does anybody have any cool things they want to plug, hype, talk about, discuss, anything cool going on? Abria, what 15 shows are you doing this week?
Episode 2 of The Unleashed is tomorrow night. Tonight after this, I'm over on I can't think anymore. Y'all, I just need this coffee to hit so badly. But we're doing Tales from Salt Bay over on Saving Throw Show.
Yes.
As we give me a little time to rest and recharge and decide what the next big campaign's going to be. And we're playing robots tonight.
Okay. I do not know the context of said robots, but that's okay.
Yep. I don't either.
All right.
So let's be honest. I don't read emails.
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny that I read emails. That's awesome. Aaron, anything cool going on in your world?
No, but I promise next time you ask me, I will have an answer.
Fantastic. I do have something. Myself and Aaron Pruner, who's a writer for a lot of your favorite media outlets. He's written for the LA Times and Nerdist and some other places. He and I just started a podcast called The Dadward Spiral. It is a dad-focused parenting podcast from the lens of a couple of Gen X dudes who don't buy into the typical tropes of fatherhood and toxic masculinity. What does it mean to be a father in this day and age? And how can we set a better precedent for dads like us? And how do we find our own way? It's funny, it's silly, it's goofy. We have some guests. We have a really good special guest lined up for our next episode. Episode 0 is there, brought to you by the fine folks at Dragon Dragon Radio. Anywhere you get your podcasts, Stitcher, iTunes, all that good shit. Check it out if you can. It's super chill. Whether you're a dad or not, you might find something. Yes.
No, that was my question. Was Edward, do I have to be a daddy to enjoy your podcast?
Not at all, because a lot of what we talk about is how there's sort of a lower standard for dads compared to what mothers and non-binary parents have to deal with. Why is it that society, by doing the bare minimum, we're suddenly rewarded as good dads when every other parenting archetype out there is held to a much different standard? What can we as cisgendered or trans men say to break that stereotype, and what can we do to make parenting a better place for all? At the same time, how do we grapple with our past? How do we incorporate the lessons of our own parents and pass them on to generation? There's also a lot of talk about shit diapers and just a lot of it's not all super deep. It's you will hear my daughter throughout, like you see her here in the stream in most cases. So yeah, That's
Will I
that's crazy.
qualify as a daddy having successfully listened to it? Can I
Legally-
add that appellation to my list of titles?
So you need to read your QueueTimes contract because legally you are my dad now. So
Yes,
I think
good.
Aaron, you too. So you're all my dad. So,
That's awesome. Let's go
so
play
yeah,
catch.
let's go play catch.
That's what dads do, right?
Not if you listen to the Dadward Spiral. You can find out other things that dads
I
do.
need this.
You brought it back. All right, cool. Thank you all for that. But in the interim, next week we got to save the actual world. This week we got to save Delea. So we're gonna start back with a quick debrief. The debriefing is as such: at the launch of Mission 002, Wing 023, which still doesn't have a name. We never quite got around to that. Wing 023 did a fast rope into the Verdant Coast and Fenn's border. They went to the Morning View. I'm sorry, not Morning View. They went to the Evergreen Eyrie, where they met up with a Tytha, who was a Talu House representative on a fact-finding and reconnaissance mission to determine the origin of the Bone Legion. After observing, they encountered an unexpected foe, what appeared to be a phoenix, who took the first phoenix life of the forceful phoenix, Crash. Upon encountering that, a plan was hatched, and at the end of that plan, a single Bone Chariot rider carrying a Chant Whisperer is headed towards a nearby village with the bitter phoenix Smoke in hot pursuit. A Tytha, the human representative of the Talu houses, has been infected with the chant. She is seated next to the shrouded phoenix Veil as the devoted phoenix Rama rendezvous on foot. A Tytha lying on the ground, being held and restrained by Veil as a Tytha shrieks this unholy, cursed chant. Rama, you arrive at the scene. You can have an action before the chant takes a hold of you.
Whoo boy.
To recap, you will not succumb to being a chanter yourself. Your phoenix blood is too strong for that, but it will have a negative effect on you as it has now had on Veil. Veil, you're not going to do card draws right now, but an affliction card will be added to your deck shortly. And Rama, you have roughly a turn before yours does as well.
Oh man. Okay. I would like to try my best to make her be quiet. I think sort of coming out and that mixture of like grief over watching Crash's like first Phoenix life taken and confusion and regret at watching that like unknown Phoenix take off with like the child and knowing that there's no like chant tablet here. She like runs out and sees this strange interaction and her first instinct, I don't know how to do it, but I want to make her stop. And I think in a life of pacifism and self-sacrifice, I would like to do a hit to make her stop talking.
Okay. You have one combat cell, correct?
Yep. And it's not great.
That's okay. Okay. A single hit by a phoenix will kill the average mortal.
Oh, okay.
Because you are strong. Can you perform a hit without doing that and simply rendering a person unconscious? Yes, you could. The X factor is that they are now possessed by the chant. Would their body being unconscious make a big difference? You are not sure.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say. You can perform an attack, and I won't even make you do a spread for it. You can render them what you think would be an appropriate amount of force to render a normal human unconscious. or you can do an intelligence check.
Yeah,
that
let's
will-
check first.
Okay, go ahead and give me an intelligence spread.
Sweet. Does this count as healing? Because I'm trying to get a scope
Yeah.
on like how to deal with this affliction.
Yeah, healing generally refers to healing a human as a
Yeah.
skill, right?
She's a human?
She's still a human.
Ooh.
So go ahead and give me a intelligence check and add your healing bonus, please.
Sweet. I get to use either set of cards. Thanks. Warlock. Yeah, we'll pretend that. I would like to make a case for this being some warlock stuff involved. Okay, I've got 4, 4, and 2, so total of 10. And I would like to add warlock just because we're dealing with a human, but this is like the intersection of humans and curses.
So great. So this is a great opportunity to discuss Warlock and Phoneix Dawn Command. Warlock, as it's traditionally defined in a lot of World of Warcraft or other RPG games, is usually a supernatural bond, usually a summoning thing. Not here. Warlock specifically refers to someone who deals in Duskcraft, being from Scavia, which is the region most associated with the Fallen Folk, where most of the human Fallen Folk deals are made. That has a lot more to do with being a proper warlock than this. Knowing what Dawn Command has gathered intelligence-wise about the chant, knowing that it originated with warlock adjacent magics, I'll say, I will allow that to be happen. So what is the mechanical benefit of the warlock card?
I get to draw 2 cards and then I place one of those back on the top of my deck.
Do it.
Sweet.
Do it. Yeah, go ahead and make that happen. So then I'll go ahead and give you point value wise, I'll bump that 1 to a 3. So
Sweet.
that being a 3 plus your healing, what's the rest of your spread total?
That gives me 18 total.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So you know that this chanter is isolated. And not within earshot of another chanter. The Whisperer, a Whisperer in terms of a regular chanting mob, a Whisperer is almost like a chant battery. They amplify whatever, the known source of the chant is a fraction of the tablet where the chant was originally written on in stone. Normally, the chant tablet spreads to a Whisperer. Whisperer says to chanters spread to each other. So if we're looking at it from like a CDC perspective, this would be patient 1 and the R naught. So that just think of it like that. Did I get that right, Aaron? I know you're the nurse in the group here.
I think so.
Okay.
Epidemiology wasn't my goal. So.
Yeah, neither mine, shockingly. So feel free to correct me, chat. Let me know if I got that wrong. But that's where she would fall in the hierarchy. Basically, just a chanter, part of a mob, but without the mob.
Okay.
Because of that, you can take a wound to cleanse her of the chant.
Hell yeah.
And she will survive. You have to take a wound.
Yep.
Okay. You will also add an affliction card to your deck, which I swear to God I will drop off at your houses at some point soon. But
I moved and I don't have an address, and if you can't give me the card, it doesn't count.
Fair enough. So you'll add an affliction card to your deck. The way that's going to represent mechanically is that the next time you draw it up as a hand, you will suffer certain effects. And because this is a chant affliction, when it appears in your hand, you will tell me, and an effect will resolve. You'll put that in your discard pile, and you'll redraw back up to a full-size hand. So we won't have to worry about it tonight, but that's how affliction cards in Phoneix work. So go ahead and take the wound.
So that I just flip one of my tokens to the sad side.
Yeah. Why don't you show the audience?
2 boys at the sad side now.
2 sides. Can you show the good side, sad side to the audience?
I don't want to.
Okay.
That's the side it's supposed to be. Look at this broken. Oh, you're not going to autofocus, are you?
It's not an autofocus. The green-red shows up though. So I think
boop. Look, completed.
Hey, Aaron.
And then broken.
There we go.
Womp,
there
womp.
we go. So go ahead and flip that health level over to a wound side. So you now have 2 wounds.
I am bad at this.
It's okay. Aaron, do you have any wounds by any chance?
I do not.
Good. Okay. So,
don't tempt him like this.
It's okay. There's time for wounds later. You So why don't you tell me what it looks like when Rama takes a wound to heal somebody? Because that's one of your core abilities as a devoted phoenix. Why don't you describe for me what that looks like?
So she like runs over with that like sort of shepherd's crook with the lantern on it, and she initially starts to flick the bottom out to like knock her out, and then thinks better of it and sort of narrows her eyes. Her eyes are shut all the time, but kind of you see a change of expression that's very hard to describe when I don't describe her eyes being open. And she sets it back down, and like the lamp, like the light coming out of this sort of fluted metal falls on her, and like the light sort of scatters across like ripples on a pool, like lamplight on water. And it sort of resolves across her body and lights up. And I think the same thing is happening across Rama's like clothing. And like as those shadows, the shadowy areas all get filled with light, I think the shadows coalesce on Rama, and her whole visage, which always seems sort of steeped in the shadows of twilight, turns a little darker. And I think Vale would notice that first wound that Rama took when she was inside the room thinking that she could help Crash, like darkened her a little more. So she looks less like someone during like the blue hour in those like last golden rays. And it looks halfway to like full darkness on her. And there's no like sense of like tearing or like cuts, just the falling of dusk into night.
Got it. So the effects of the chant on a human are pretty distinct. It is this, by the way, join us over at the QueueTimes Discord. And if you do, there's an Operation Emberfall sub-channel in there where I posted a link to a song called Frontier by the experimental artist Holly Herndon. Canonically, that is how I envision the chant in this world. A techno tripped out sacred harp with AI. That's kind of how, very echoey, very tinny, very creepy as hell. So they're in the middle of that song, which is one person, but it sounds like 50 people in a room in a building across the street with the volume turned up. And as this process is happening, the physical effects of the chant on a human are blood out of the eyes, out of the mouth, out of the pores, like if you've shaved without shaving cream, like it's got that feel to it, and just a panicked thrashing. The beats of the song are made by them hitting themselves and literally bruising and breaking bones as they're doing it. But as this light washes, you hear the discordant cacophony stripped down little by little, voice by voice by voice, until it's just her voice, Atitha, and then she stops and her breath catches. For you, as the blood flow stops, literally almost like rain that just stops, and like the last little bit of blood from her eyes stops and rolls down her face, leaving the coppery, dried blood on her face. A single bloody tear comes out of where your eyes would be and underneath the linen. And it's a small trickle. It's thin, but it isn't quite stopping just yet. And it's only out of one eye. It's very, very tiny, but it's there and noticeable. Her breath, she's hurt and sore from hitting herself. And she's determining the lay of the land. And then she looks at both of you and scoots back, but then immediately catches herself and calms. And then says, the other chant, where are they?
Smoke is in pursuit. Why is Atitha here?
Atitha is me.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Dale.
That was Smoke's idea. Where's Crash?
You all saw what happened to Crash through the feather. You know that she was killed by that mysterious.
Yeah, I don't want to trust it.
Yeah.
Okay. This has spiraled way out of control for Vale.
Yeah.
So Atitha looks at you and goes, Crash, I don't. Where's the chanter?
The chanter is with the phoenix that killed Crash. I don't know where. I came this way. I saw smoke taking off in pursuit, but I don't think we can catch them.
I don't think we can get anywhere near them.
She sits up, bruised ribs, just sits up and starts looking. Vale, because you have observant, you quickly see the dust trail of the chariot, and it's 50 yards from town, from the village. That's roughly, based on the size of the huts, based on the cluster that they're together. You see that this village is probably anywhere between population 100 to 170. Smoke is not Crash. Crash could do 3 or 4 laps around it by this point, but she's keeping pace and she's pretty close and she's on it. She's probably about, I'd say about 100 yards behind and holding the steady speed and slowly kind of gaining on it. Taitha sits up and sees this and sees, she brings out a small spyglass and looks, tracking, and she drops it and she sighs. Her satchel that it contained all the books and some other personal effects is next to her, and she looks at either of you and goes, can you? She's too weak to grab it. She's reaching for it.
Yeah, I'll definitely hand it off.
She grabs it, she opens it, and she pulls out a it's very steampunkish. It's essentially like the equivalent of like an old school 70s 1/2 headphone, but with a series of wires and some pieces being very cobbled together and some pieces extraordinarily new. You both immediately recognize 2 components that are clearly Parayan steel. A mixture of reclaimed and repurposed brass, copper, and iron, which, I mean, this thing does not look comfortable. There's a leather strap that she fumbles with and immediately is able to affix into place. She looks at her hands. There's enough blood on one hand from her time with the chant to where she smears it on one area and then just holds it, and she just seems sitting. Her eyes are closed. You're not quite sure what this is. You've never seen this before, but she just seems to be waiting.
While she's waiting, I just want to give Vale a look like, do you know what this is?
I'm just going to flat out ask her what she's doing.
You ask her and she just holds up a single finger.
Rama quirks an eyebrow and you see like a little bit of light come out as one of her eyes opens, like, well, I could have done that.
And then she raises her hand and you can tell she's hearing and listening to something. And then she just simply says, position lost. Fire for effect. And then she peels it off and just slowly leans back on one elbow.
Did you just call in ballistics?
What was that?
You feel the wind, the hot, dry wind, before you hear the massive explosion as the entire town is detonated.
Holy.
And she is just eyes closed, exhausted, laying on her back, just short of breath.
I want I'm gonna grab her by the front of her clothing and lift her up to my full standing height.
She's expecting this.
What have you done? Was it clear?
I'm going to grab Rama's wrists. We had no control over that situation.
No, we can't just resign yourself to this. She made a choice in this moment. She made this choice, and how could you?
And now if we get her back to a medic, she gets to live with it.
And I'm prepared to. Look, and she hands her spyglass. She just holds it open, waiting for someone to take it.
I drop her.
Bill takes it.
She happily flumps to the ground, seated, sore, lets out a painful sigh, and says, "That thing took me within 5 seconds of hearing it. That whisper, thanks to the information Dawn Command shared with us, would have taken that whole town in less than 10 minutes. And less than a mile and a half away is the outskirts of the capital. The capital has brass dragoons fitted upon any building where a chant can take hold before a wing can deploy. And I'm sorry, Phoenix, you don't have enough sparks for all of them. We were here to gather information. And if push came to shove, my mission was clear.
You had no right, and you had no faith in us to handle this.
Listen, it's super sweet you all were able to heal me, and truly, thank you. But it's math, and the numbers were not on your side. The Talu houses do not live before and after the rise and fall of Dawn Command by not being able to see where the odds lie.
You're all a bunch of barbarians. And I pity you.
You may have identified the odds, but you didn't find a solution.
No, and a small smile creeps across her face. That was your job.
Actually, it wasn't. And I'd be careful how you speak to me right after you admit that you had a whole secondary mission that you didn't tell me about.
She stands up and looks you square in the eyes and says, "Look at me. There is nothing you could have done or could do now that was worse than the last 3.5 minutes. Nothing. And if you think you can, I welcome you to try, because it'll be better than what I just felt."
The difference here is I remember this isn't about me and what I feel.
With that, she gets a little angry. And she says, "Do you think I enjoyed that? Do you think I wanted that? Do you think any of us wanted that? For 3 years, while you've been in the Crucible, for 3 years, we have seen city after city fall. Martinford, gone. Everything to the south, gone, except for the jungles of the Grimwald. City by city falling. We cannot allow it to spread. I will chop off both arms and both legs and my nose to save my face." And I think anyone in any position of power has to ask themselves the same questions. And if that's not a question you're prepared to ask, then maybe you're in the wrong line of work. And she turns her back to you and slowly starts to walk towards the Eyrie, extraordinarily slowly.
Rama turns and heads back to the cottage to make sure she's collected all of Crash's ashes.
Grace check. Or intelligence check.
Doesn't matter. They're both bad checks. I got 4. It's 4. It's 4. I got 4. Are any of my skill specialties helping?
What you
right
got?
now?
What you got?
Diplomacy, healing, spirits, and tradition.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So 4. The answer is 4.
4 it is. You definitely got all of Crash's ashes. You absolutely got that. Crash's ashes, my favorite band at Lilith-Fair.
I'm so sad at how angry I'm supposed to feel right now, but Crash's ashes makes me want to giggle every time I say it.
Hashtag Crash's ashes. Okay, so in terms of ashes, you find that. Do you want to look for anything else? Do you want to give any sort of anything? And by the way, Vale, while Rama is doing that, because it's a walk down there.
Yeah.
Do you want to go with her? Where's Vale in all this?
Vale's going with Rama.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and give me a observation check?
I think, yeah, she goes in, knows that she already had collected them all, but just sort of kneels down in the position and is just sort of frozen thinking. And really isn't looking around and trying to be better.
19.
Nice.
Okay. Okay. 19. I'll go ahead and tell you if you burn a spark, you get a candy.
Okay.
Take it from the spark bank.
You get
chocolate, please.
You get a knowledge candy. Okay.
I want a chocolate.
Well, it depends on how you do it. So forceful Crash, the forceful Phoenix, your fallen compatriot at this mysterious, who died at this mysterious hand. All of those ashes are collected and in one of Rama's canisters. However, it's a shed, man. It's like the shittiest Skyrim single cottage house you've ever seen. Bed, trunk, cabinet with some out of date books, potions you already got. It's not great. But on the other side of the bed, you find another pile of ashes, Phoenix ashes.
I bend down to grab them, and then I call Rama's name and kind of nod toward what I'm gathering.
They are slightly a different shade than Crash's. Or yours, for that matter.
When I was looking at the candle wall, was I given every information that they darken or lighten with age? You said this one is darker, yes?
Yes.
So do they darken with age? Do I know that?
Phoenix, I'll say all Phoenixes know this. Phoenix ashes do not discolor with age. They are preserved kind of like timeless in a way, unless you mix them with, it's called, not flux, but in pottery, when you mix broken pieces of pottery into clay, that is called, come on, I watch Pottery Throwdown on HBO Max.
That's a thing?
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. It's made by the Great British Baking Show Company. So
the best part is I've heard so many good things about this show.
So
I believe
good.
you with 100% of my heart.
It's so good.
Okay.
There's a dude in season 1. Anyway, but it's so if things are added to the ashes, it can discolor it. But ashes on its own don't have a different color usually. These are, and slurry, or it's not slurry, Kai or Nightshade. It's not slurry. And yes, Kai, there's a pottery GBBO. Yeah, same company. Love Productions. I will take your money, HBO Max. So you see it. Immediately, both of you get a weird vibe. It's almost like a cosmic tuning fork, or like something that vibrates in its presence. It's weird, man. It's just a strange hairs on the back of your neck feeling that you don't normally experience as a Phoenix.
Something's not right here.
What
We
do you
need to get back to the Eyrie.
mean? Are we going to just leave Smoke to their pursuit?
Vale looks like she does not want to say this out loud, but it's like either Vale is going to follow that whisper wherever it's going, or Vale and the whisper got caught in that explosion.
I refuse to believe that Smoke was caught in that. I will not believe it. So head back to the Eyrie if you want, but I will stay and wait for them.
You're not going anywhere alone.
We failed.
We didn't fail. We were only sent here to watch the Bone Legion. We didn't get any helpful information.
Our duty is to protect life. First
When
and
we
foremost.
can. If they thought we could have saved that village, we would have been told to protect the village. Either they never thought we could, or they thought the humans would be up to it and they made their decision.
Our duty lies beyond their orders. And I don't think I can be consoled from this right now. But I respect your intelligence. And I will follow where you lead. For now.
Let's walk toward the village, see if we can find Smoke.
Thank you.
And we're off.
Yeah.
You walk a brisk pace, but you're not running. I don't think you have that in you. You can see Atitha actually like slowly make her way up into the Eyrie. You go into. It's not slip, Kai. We're gonna figure this out. It's not slip. Slip is like, as I found out from the show, slip is like a different type of clay that you add on top of pottery to like be a decorative element to it. It's not slip, but let's keep
I love
this
that
going.
I'm high key learning about pottery right
God,
now.
it's like, oh god, it's broken pieces of ceramics mixed in to like bind it and hold it together. It's not grit, not chum, but it's like a weird word like that. But anyway, all right. So you make your way into this devastated town, and oh, hold on.
Hurry, everyone Google it. We're going to find it.
Okay, we're
Nothing.
back. No more Googling. So you make your way into the town. Before you make your way into the town, the smell, there's just no getting around it. It's acrid. It is it's not natural fire, so it would be a primitive form of not napalm, but it's like it is a medieval chemical fire agent essentially. Just your basic history, and from examining the dragon cannons that were on the chariot, it fires that sort of sticky fire, that wildfire that was so devastating to the Dawn Command during the Civil War. It is troubling that a human would have access to so much of it at the ready. You know that because part of the whole treaty of the end of the Civil War was that humans do away with those weapons. You know that they had dusted a couple off from a museum when the last time the Chant threatened the capital. But Wing 018 was able to defuse that situation and the bitter rash was able to cleanse the shard before it ever came to that. After which, it became a negotiating point again to not deploy this, when phoenixes are around. So this, on its surface, would seem to be in violation of that. The fact that it was staged, premeditated. You see husks of brass tanks around. Content warning, but I won't go into super detail, but there are dead bodies everywhere. All ages. The town is lost.
Can I get a sense of how evacuated was this town?
Not at all.
So this is the same town that I asked if they had evacuated?
Yes!
Aha!
Let's go do a murder! I'm sorry. This is very out of character. I'm very
Vale is quite obviously enraged.
Yeah.
Was there anything about this that they were honest about?
Well, I will say this. What you don't know if there was an effort to evacuate. You don't know that. You don't know if there was an effort that failed to evacuate. And you don't know... Your estimation on the population is an estimate. You don't know how much.
Yo, Aaron, let's do a murder.
While you contemplate that, let's go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Grog. It's Grog, everybody. I figured it out. It's Grog.
No. Their name is Smoke.
Yeah, stop you there. Grog is broken bits of pottery that you mix into raw clay to strengthen it. It's called grog. So anytime something cracks in the kiln, you get a bunch of little pieces of clay, it becomes grog, you add it in. Okay, that's a wrap. No, I'm just kidding. I'm very pleased I got past this. Starting back in media res with where we left off, you come to the realization that any evacuation that happened was not effective at all. If there was, in fact, even ordered. It's possible that one was ordered that you're not aware of. It's entirely possible one was never ordered. You don't have enough evidence one way or the other to indicate that. I will say you did get a very legitimate and very real sense of regret and sadness at the loss of life from Atitha. You also, have no reason to doubt her word that to her it is simple math. And to quote Doogie Howser, we're in it for the species, people. It's definitely that perspective, and certainly what you know of how devastating the chant and the dread in general have been. This stage of desperation is not surprising. The kingdoms of humans have... The Empire has demonstrated a willingness to make drastic actions such as this, and it is not entirely unearned. That said, you don't have enough actionable intelligence right this moment to go one way or the other. It's really just more about instinct at this point. Yeah. Sorry, Rev, you're leveling up. You find a pile of ashes where it should be. Right on the edge, but really close to where the bone chariot was. So, she was able to intercept, and that she was able to engage in some fashion with the bone chariot right as the explosion hit. So you don't know how successful. There is no trace of the whisper. None. There are pieces of the bone chariot and skeletal remains of that chariot driver.
Is there ash around? Because wasn't that Phoenix with? Where did I get that right?
The Phoenix that took Crash's life.
Yeah.
That Phoenix was in the cottage where you found Crash's ashes and the mystery ashes. So that was in that one.
But it was the bone chariot that went and picked up the... Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. So it makes sense that the only ashes you find are of your wingmates. Yeah.
Oh.
But aside from that, surface level, from both your perception skills, Rama, as well as your observant skills, nothing stands out aside from the horrific scene that has happened here. For as awful as it is relatively straightforward what you're seeing now. Hutches, houses that were made of various materials and various degrees of finish, some of them very old, some of them old with modern attachments. The soil, not particularly fruitful here. Probably better for potato than wheat. Nearby streams, a lot of riverways and causeways, but not a ton of life, as it were. What would you like to do?
Rama just looks at Vale.
I don't think they told us the truth about a single thing. Which means we don't know what we're walking into if we go back there. Are we supposed to do anything else here?
Not that do I remember? Like, we were just supposed to figure out, observe and report on the bone chariots.
Pretty much. Your mission is complete. You completed your extended skill spread with a little bit of margin. The skill spreads you made to determine the origin of it, maybe you could have gotten a little more detail, but the basics of it you were able to reveal, which are this. The bone chariot is a gestalt entity that animates the corpses of the dead based on the memory of someone. So it is a memory given form. It is a memory of those specific people who lived. Their corpses are animated and perform a basic retelling. Adjustments being made, like obviously if you were to throw an army at it, it would react to it and respond to it as that army would have. But the general pathway that it's on has something to do with something that happened in history. Likewise, the behavior of this specific squad of 5 bone chariots must have happened at some place, although all the written histories that you had up until this point revealed or reviewed with the Taitha and yourself did not align with any written history that you saw. This was a very specific thing that happened, maybe a battlefield observation by somebody. And who knows, maybe somewhere there's a different perspective than a history book that could shed more light on this. But from what you've been able to see, the path that this particular legion made, you know that it is the army of somebody. And probably if you dig through enough Civil War battle history, you can probably figure out who was the commander at the time, what this detachment was meant to do, when they were in battle, so on and so forth. You feel like you have enough evidence to figure that out, but what you definitely feel confident about is that it is a magic retelling of people who lived, used for obviously somewhat nefarious purposes. Is somebody in control of this? That you don't know. Is this happening entirely on its own because of something magical? Maybe, who knows? But you know that it is a repeatable pattern that is being acted out to the devastation of humans.
I think your point is fair. I don't know what we'd be walking into if we returned. Should we try to make our own way back?
That seems like the smartest thing to me.
Yeah. Then let's do that. If I am being honest, I understand Ataitha's math, but this is in violation of a lot of things that I believe to be true, and I don't trust myself and what I would do if I saw her again.
Then let's find another way home.
And we walk.
Do we know of another? Can we just go back to the Erie that we came from? I don't have my right notebook on me.
Yeah. So the the Evergreen Eyrie. You could go back there. You know that there's a stable there. You still have a horse, mind you. And there are more.
Oh, I didn't get a horse.
Well, that's the way there's a horse there waiting for you.
Yeah.
The Eyrie is there.
Mistake.
The Eyrie is there to serve you. The Eyrie is there. You know, it is for phoenixes. Would they let you murder a human on your own? There'd probably be a few people getting in the way of that, but you wouldn't be arrested or anything like that. You have the stables. You could go to the stables. You also know that your exfiltration out of here, because you can't jump back without extraordinary magic. But you know your exfiltration point is a carriage stop, roughly 3 miles out west. So 3 miles out west, there's a carriage stop that they already know that at a certain point that it's basically an open ticket. They will take you to the shore where a Windari ship will ferry you back to Pyre. The whole journey, all together with the boat ride, probably take about 4 days. The hiking from here to the carriage stop, you can do that in an hour, less than if you want to sprint it. So up to you entirely what you want to do. If you, I will say this: you both have an echo of the chant on you, so it's possible that might have ramifications with humans. You think you can pretty much control it, like you periodically feel the urge to start chanting, but your Phoenix Flame prevents you. It gives you the strength to resist that. It's like the beginning of stomach flu. You can kind of fight it down. So it's up to you what you want to do.
I want to white knuckle it and get on that boat.
Yeah, let's do that.
And just barricade ourselves in one room for the rest of the boat ride.
Yep.
Okay. So you walk. I will say that Atitha left her knapsack there.
Ooh.
So before you walk, you have the option of taking it with you.
Heck yeah. Do a steal.
All right. Do a steal. Not a ton in there. There's a small canteen attached to a blister pack with one of those little straws in the shoulder strap. There's obviously the big helmet device that she had. And then there's the 4 books that she had taken with her to try to do some reading on the go. Those
Girl.
4 books, I know, right? Those 4 books are there in that sack. And then the rest is just quill, ink, scroll.
Is that cute spyglass in there?
Spyglass is in there.
Hey.
There you go. Cute spyglass. All of this is open for possession, inspection. You've got a bit of a walk. You have time to kind of go through everything if you want.
We're going through everything.
Yeah, we're going to touch it. What's in the books? I'm going to read 4 books in 4 days.
Okay.
Well, we don't need to sleep, so we actually can do that.
Yeah, right?
I'll say this: all the stuff that you can go through is going to be on your walk to the carriage point, which is about an hour. Mm-hmm. So, you can. I'll say you can thumb through 2 of the books and get the basic gist of it in that hour time. I'll read you the titles of the books, and you can tell me which ones you want to look through. I have it right here. I wrote all these books down. Okay, so the ones that she took with her are The World Beneath Our Feet, Fragments of the Old Kingdoms, Nothing But Omnipotence Could Break Us, a collection of letters, poems, and songs of the Civil War, At the Ready, The Early Days of Dawn Command, and The Fire Extinguished, The 3 Phoenix Emperors of the Delayan Empire.
I mean, the last 2 are way more interesting to me. I'm gonna, if it's okay with Vale, I want to see The Fire Extinguished. I want to see those last 3 emperors.
Then I'll take the lovers from the Civil War book.
Nice.
Okay. We'll start with The Fire Extinguished. So as you're reading that one, some of this is it's a human perspective.
That's what I wanted. I wanted human propaganda on Phoenix Emperors. Please and thank you.
So you get a little more context for pre-Dawn Command days. And it's interesting. Obviously written by someone with a strong either connection or reverence to the Talu houses. It talks about the opening chapters kind of talk about pre Dawn Legion, pre Dawn Codex days, and the idea that the five kingdoms were kind of like kind of rowdy and kind of on their own, like the Scavias, the Scavi where you're from. You begrudgingly admit some of the criticism, while some of the other criticism of Scavi society is just like, what the hell are you talking about?
I mean, it's rustic. Like, we choose that.
Exactly. There's you get a sense of the like light derision and mocking about the mass tradition.
Yeah.
There's a lot of effusive praise for making a lot out of these bulwark cities. Scavia is noted for these massive cities that had fallen and crumbled to almost to pieces from the old kingdoms, of which there is no recorded history of. Just these, and building a society out of that somehow incorporates bits of those traditions and fragments of that, along with culture and society meant with dealing with the fallen folks. So there's a lot of respectful praise of that, and a little bit
Would
of
you say it's like grog, but with civilization?
Hey,
Hey!
Yes, I would. Take a spark, God damn it.
Oh my God, thank you.
And so you see that, and like, so you're like, okay, fine, fair, but it's half truths and whatever. When it gets to the part about the Phoenixes, you're impressed with the fact that the humans, I know, baby, you're impressed with the fact that the human author of this is the first to admit that says, the old, the pre-Empire days were in dire need of a philosophical leader. That there are a philosophical, like homogenized, co-modified set of beliefs and rules. And you, as you're reading, like, it talks about the first person, the first human who did this, and how he was sent to Pyre to resist that. And the author like says, yeah, we needed this at this time, and the Talu houses were wrong for resisting, a higher ethical standard, and that when this human and his 1,000 followers were killed, and he was reborn as Savant, the first leader of Dawn Command, and his 1,000 phoenixes, that it made, yeah, that made sense. That made sense. The three phoenixes that of Justice, who was the final empress. Um, Shoot, forgetting the middle one's name. Aegis and the other one. Those three right there are. It's a fair retelling of the perspective, but the overall through line is that. The second emperor especially was really focused on rooting out corruption, or what they perceived to be corruption, and the focus of a lot of that was on these Talu houses. They really took a somewhat merciless, kind of anti-Dawn Codex approach, and you're realizing that some of these tactics leveraged from Dawn Command or Dawn Legion at the time onto the human empires wasn't always necessarily fair. You get the sense that when all you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. And you get a strong sense that even before the Civil War, Justice, the final empress, recognized that they had swung too far into like almost an oppressive regime, and weren't really listening as much. But at the same time, the problems were there. There was corruption. How hard they administered against it, so be it. The author is very fair about taking the imperial philosophies, which were later codified as the Dawn Codex, and saying, "Hey, we didn't appreciate what the Empress did, but we can still take these beliefs with us, and with a booming economy, we can make a somewhat peaceful world." And by and large, they did. There's a bit of poetry around the final moment of the self-execution of Justice, and how it was a sober, somber, more like saying goodbye to somebody than toppling a regime. That's the tone it takes, and that's kind of what you get through skimming through this as it was. So,
Cool.
Vale, you have read Nothing But Omnipotence Could Break Us, a collection of songs and letters and poems, and it's exactly that. It is nothing but letters. It is 100% Ken Burns' documentary of just letters and poems and tales and urban legends and myths. Some of it very fantastical and not at all real. If you're familiar with like the Golden Arm myth of like the Southern tradition of the person who wanted to be buried with their golden arm, there's that. It's that kind of stuff in there. But one catches your eye, and now I need to look at my notes. It is a story of, let me get to it. It is a story of a soldier under the command of General Halden Pelagus. Halden Pelagus, as a name, you know. Halden Pelagus was killed by justice in the final battle of the Civil War. But this story isn't about Halden Pelagus. That story is known. This is about a random soldier under his command who was the what they call the point, or the sort of like the tip of the spear of a squad of 5 bone chariots. And prior to a march onto a city, he receives a letter about his son who was sick. And in the middle of his march, he decides to break ranks and escape. And when the rest of his squad finally catches up to him, he single-handedly kills them all and goes into the cottage of his home and finds his son sick but alive, and the mother dead from the same sickness in the time that it took from the letter she wrote to reach him. And he picks up his son and carries him off in a chariot to live by the shore and go AWOL, change his name, and how he found peace by living with his son and giving his son comfort in his son's final days. And from there, history loses track of him, or this song does. But this is a song. This is what you would call a road march song, the kind that is sung by other soldiers as like a song of melancholy. It's not the song you sing when you're beginning the 5-mile road march. It's the song you sing around mile 3 or 4. But it's remembered and it's talked about, and it's like, you know, it's talked about a soldier's obligation and a soldier's duty, but how some things come above that. And there's just enough, there's too many coincidences from what you've observed to know that the aspect of the bones that you encountered was the body of this soldier doing that. Now, the other thing you notice is that when it came to those bones actually fighting each other, that's where the details get blurry. It looked like a simple swipe and the other one toppled over like without much resistance. This wasn't actual combat, but a reenactment of the broad strokes of the story. And for you, it clicks. And in a moment, you wonder how many stories go untold. And with that, you arrive to a stable. It's kind of like a public transit carriage stable. Large carriage, can fit about a dozen people easily. There's about 3 or 4 humans on there. And 2 humans standing by the driver's cab going over an itinerary. One of them is tall and sort of, I don't want to say brutish, but thick, muscular by appearances. Darker hair, bit built in the shoulders, a bit broad, quiet type. And then sort of a smaller, more energetic but frantic. Hey, no. Frantic person next to him, trying to make sure that the itinerary is there. That smaller person looks up and sees 2 battle-worn phoenixes and like they're about to say something, but then they put two and two together and go, "Ah, okay," and they walk over to you. And the small one approaches you and says, "You must be Wing 053," as he squints his eyes.
2-3.
Two, 3. Sorry, my twos look like fives sometimes when I'm in a hurry. Wing 023. So I see we have you here. We're here to escort you to Shadow Cave. Or no, Shadow K. That's right, Shadow K. C-A-Y. K means not cave. Shadow K. Where there's a boat called the Princess that's going to take you back to Pyre. Travel's already paid for, so that's good. We're about to leave in about, honestly, we were just waiting for you. We can push off whenever. But if you want to, you can get on up in there and let us know if you need anything. Happy to provide.
There are other people on this carriage, yes?
Couple people in the back, but we can give you space if you need it. It's not a concern for us, but you let us know. And hey, if you don't want them on there, we're happy to refund them their money. Our contract with you through the Wendari government covers all travel expenses. I'm happy to invoice them for a refund if you know what I mean. But happy to give you all the space you need. If you need privacy, if you need to talk about like top secret stuff, totally fine. We can draw the little door there. We won't hear a thing. This ain't our first time. We've transported Phoenixes left and right, so it's old hat for us. But you let us know what you want to do. We're gonna go tack the horse real quick. We'll be right back. And they walk off.
That was a lot of words. At Vale, I can't help but think that the other people in this carriage would be safer from what we experienced earlier if they were to wait for the next passage.
Yeah, I'm going to gesture to the guy and yell out, refund them.
You got it. And then you see him bring over, like, he whips out of nowhere a clipboard with like a large ledger, and he starts talking to people. One married couple, very fancy looking. The husband just kind of stomps his foot, and the wife rolls her eyes, and then like they just go off and like start fighting. And then the other guy was just kind of like a drifter. He just kind of shrugs and like takes his little receipt voucher and goes over to like the food cart. But the carriage is clear. And then the larger one kind of comes over to both of you and just without saying much kind of goes, "Whenever you're ready."
I would like to get back as soon as possible, so let's go.
All right. You hop in. The journey starts. It's a carriage. It's not like speedy. You've got more time to go through stuff if you like. It's a nice day. It's evening. It's like the sun is setting now. It's getting to be nighttime. It's quiet. This part of Vale, I would say that this area is about 40 miles south of where you worked and where the family you served was. You're approaching that area. It's like that county, So like if you lived in Irvine, for instance, this would be more like Laguna. Like you're entering into like you're entering. Very California joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Chat, tell me your state. I'll give you a reference.
Yeah.
Wisconsin. Well, if you're in Wyowega, you'll want to. So you're making your way down. It's a pretty uneventful march. You have some time to inspect. You have some time to discuss. You've got that helmet thing. You've got other books. And if you really want to go tear acid into her, to the rest of her effects, you can. It's really up to you. Or anything else, your ashes, if you want to take a look at that, entirely up to you.
Vale, you mentioned that the ashes look wrong somehow?
Yeah, they're not the right color. I grab the vial and show it to her.
Sweet. Can I pull, I just want to dip a finger in and kind of...
Yeah. It's weird for ash to feel dusty. Which is to say that the grit, the granularity of it just feels different. I mean,
I've touched so much ashes at this point, y'all. I really have touched all of you.
You really are the ash whisperer. Yeah, I mean, listen, you can on an observation level, on a tactile level, on a smell level, it's different but same. It's the prime qualities of it. It's unmistakably Phoenix Ash. It's just a little bit off in a few different directions. The coloration's a little off. The feel's a little bit off. The smell's a little bit off. The weight is a little bit off. It's Phoenix Ash is irrespective of size or presentation or anything like that. It's always roughly the same amount. This is just, it feels different, and you can't quite, like, if you were to up in the contents, I'm not saying you do, but if you were to up in the contents and look at them, like, it would appear to be the same pile, but why is one heavier?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. But like on closer inspection, it doesn't look like I guess I'm trying to see if it looks like a mix. Like, am I seeing two distinct substances like swirled together?
Give me an intellect check.
Yeah, let's see.
Intellect spread. I need to say spread more often.
Spread. Let's get it. All right. I can use skill, or I can use grace in my intellect spread. Yeah.
If it's part of one of your 4 skills selections, yes. What you got?
Diplomacy. Spirits? None of this feels correct.
No, it ain't.
No, just give this to me anyway.
Maybe your wings intelligence officer might be of help.
Yeah, all right.
You would think.
I look at it with 4 of thoughts.
But I got nothing right now.
And I just turn and go, I am emotionally compromised. I just hold a finger up at her. Too close to
Would this be an observation or a lore?
Lore is general magic, of which Ashcraft is part of that. So I'll give you 5 on it, but I'm just going to raise the DC because relative to that skill specialty. But yeah, I would say lore would probably get you there.
I'm at 12.
I wish I could be helpful, but none of my cards are helpful right now.
It's
There's the helpful card.
It's unmistakably Phoenix Ash. It is not alloyed with anything. It is not cut with anything. I just watched Brick last night. It's not cut with anything. It's but man, it's different. It's different. It's a different kind of Phoenix that made these ashes. I think that's all I can give you for a 12.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, did you notice anything in the book you were looking through? Any good poetry? Because honestly, all I see over and over from the murals up at Dawn Command. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think I might have an explanation for what we were seeing, but the way it played out, I grabbed the book and I show Rama the song. I'm like, but I don't think we were seeing these events play out. I think we were seeing someone's living rendition of the song play out.
Oh. Interesting.
The problem with that is this was an old book in a bookshelf in the Erie. Everybody could know this song, including whoever was doing the whispering. Where did they go?
All right, sorry. Just to jump back to
Go right ahead,
it before.
please.
The Whisperer was the childlike person that got scooped up by Bones. So there was a kid. Yeah, okay. So I convey and explain what I saw. That there was a child there, the one that sort of initiated that chant, that the Bone Chariot person came in and scooped them up and carried them off. And then they got blasted to smithereens when the bombs were called in.
That's not good because the chant should be done, and I doubt it is.
I mean, a person with the ability to both hold and spread the chant and also summon not a memory, but a memory in a song? What were we dealing with?
And infect the Bone Legion?
Yeah. And that Phoenix, that strange Phoenix that killed Crash was there too. I don't know if they were there to help or maybe Maybe they understood the nature of this childlike figure a little better than I did at the time.
The carriage comes to a stop.
Climbing down.
Yep.
So you're getting out of the carriage?
Yeah.
Okay. You get out of the carriage. Sun is fully set. The road appears clear. The driver and the kind of co-driver, the big guy is actually got the reins of the horse. The little guy is just kind of next to him. They're just looking off into the distance.
Do I see the boat? The princess?
Yeah, you're still about, I'd say, at the current pace, I'd say you're about an additional 40 minutes in the carriage. And if you were to sprint it, you could probably make it there in about 20. But yeah, I mean, everything's fine. Road's open. You see a boat kind of coming into port. You're elevated. I'll say you're elevated, and you can kind of see it like coming downhill. You see the coastline. You see a somewhat active port.
So the carriage stopped before we actually pulled into port.
Oh yeah.
I am pulling out my talon.
Okay. You pull out your talon, and the driver and the co-driver have no reaction.
Why did you stop?
Well, you see, the smaller one responds. We generally don't eavesdrop with. It's not really part of our business, but we couldn't help but notice a couple of inconsistencies. And for you see, you cannot have dawn without the dark, and you cannot usher in a new age without the night. And he stands up and says, "For lo, the midnight hour is upon us." And he holds out his arm. We give
I'm
of our
kicking
time.
over the carriage.
As you go to. Okay. Give me an attack spread.
Amazing.
See, which one do I want to do? What do we got here?
Cool.
I'm going to use Frostbite.
Okay.
I am so stinking tired of humans making choices.
Can we get that on a shirt? Oh, man. Seven. Okay. Okay, so that's a 7, and you're kicking the cart, right?
I'm basically trying to stop whatever he is saying because I no longer trust the humans. They've just completely burnt all trust with me. So he doesn't get to monologue. I don't trust what's about to come out of his mouth.
By the way, if you want to boost that up at all, there are still 2 sparks remaining in Spark Bank here for your convenience. That will allow you to either draw 2 cards or regain 2 sparks. I'm just reminding you, don't feel pressured to do it now.
I'm gonna hold off right now because I'm not actively trying to kill them. I don't know that they were about to attack us.
They were.
I'm pretty sure they were. But I don't trust them.
So, so what is your total point score against? I want to be clear. The carriage, which is what you declared as.
Kill this carriage.
Kill this carriage.
Yeah, I came up with 7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
So a phoenix with a 7 against the carriage wins. So my mathematician brain here. You kick this carriage in half. It doesn't tip it over. It just literally you break the axle of this carriage. It cleans it. I mean, the guys stumble. It stops the monologuing. Good job. It stops the monologuing as the smaller guy stands there and goes, oh, and is excited. And then he says, "This is why you lose. I am just a pawn. I am the fuel that will ignite the eternal flame. I am the one who brings the storm." And he stands, arms outstretched towards the sky, as the main driver stabs, draws a blade, and rips it across his throat.
Okay. Humans killing humans is very vexing to me.
He jumps off of the carriage to look you in the eye.
Is he
And
tall enough to look me in the eye?
He's when he starts, no, but as his form changes shape. And Jake, I could get the card now if that's all right.
No, Jake, don't do it. Don't let him bully you.
You see a bit of the blood from the person he just killed or was sacrificed begins to ignite and draw into this person here as his skin begins to tear open, revealing metal and hinges and bits of chain in a constant swirling, spinning motion until his flesh is ripped asunder, revealing a blade storm. Let's go ahead and see that card.
No.
Looks like that.
Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you.
It stands before you, spinning, and for a minute, it's just there in front of you. I'm going to give you the health levels right now. You'll want to make note of this. It has 3 health levels, each with a value of 10, meaning you've got to burn through 10 in order to reduce it down, or you can inflict brutal damage. It is entirely up to you to determine what may constitute brutal damage. I also want to give you your environmental effects really quick. These are elements you can interact with to aid you in combat. And if you use them, you get to draw a card, and then depending on how creatively you use them, they might inflict separate conditions like brutal or maybe some other stuff. So you have 2 horses who are so far still alive. We'll just say horse. We'll also say a wheel axle, so like half of a wheel is available to grab and do whatever you want with. You've got rope. There's like just rope. You've got a lantern that is currently burning. And you have over on the side of the road a giant rock, which even for intellect-based phoenixes is not hard for you to lift up and use to smash. And you have actually scratch that. It's not rope, it's chain. It's metal chain.
Oh, chain.
It's about 10 feet of chain.
Nice,
So,
nice.
Here's the other thing I could say. The other thing you immediately recognize is that when it killed that human, it gained spark. So it has just like phoenixes have spark, this blade storm has sparks as well. Its defense is 8. So you got to clear 8 to do damage on it. And then another 10 to actually do it unless you impart a condition upon it. The mysterious ashes. That's your last environmental effort. Not your teammates, but those mystery ashes that you have. You have that as well.
Cool. If only one of us knew Ashcraft and would do something with it.
Lore has an insight into the basics of Ashcraft. And so what does that mean? What does that mean, Vale? It means if you wanted to take your turn to by the way, its speed is 1, meaning one of you, then it. One of you, then it. It moves fast. So if you wanted to take a turn to determine how to utilize Ashcraft as some sort of attack or binding or do whatever you want to do with it, you let me know and we'll design a check around it. Cool?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Which one of you would like to go first? I will give you initiative on this one because it is taking its form, and it frankly when it did its ambush attack, it utilized its turn. Oh, my daughter found the scariest part of Steven Universe, and now she's upset.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's the Pizza Dream one. She trips out on that one. Anyway, there you go, baby. So who would like to go first?
If you don't mind, I would love to. I would like to give an attempt. Cool. I so rarely attack. I am vexed. Her eyes like open and they're like points of light, and the lantern off on the side of this like crushed carriage flares up along with her talon. And I want to reach forward and grab him. And let's just give passing pain a shot, because I'm
Okay.
sick with wounds and I would love to share them with friends.
Okay, so go ahead and read passing pain for me, please.
Yeah. Sweet. On a successful attack, you may transfer a number of wounds equal to half your rank rounded up to your target at a cost of 1 spark per wound. And each wound inflicts 3 brutal damage to your target. And I can only do this to living targets. Is this thing living?
No.
Oh, what the heck?
It's a pile of saws, blades, and chains.
But it feels alive because it's annoying me, and only living things have annoyed me today.
I wouldn't classify it as living, but yes. Okay. Yeah. So I don't think that would.
Then never mind. I do not do it.
I will say this: it currently has 2 sparks, and if it was in a mortal form until it gained 2 sparks, it can gain more. It can gain a lot by killing a phoenix. And yeah, I'm kind of telling you stuff I shouldn't, but oh well.
Thanks for sharing.
I'm too kind of a GM. So that says I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Okay, yeah. So its defense is 8. So there's that. So what would you like to do if not a passing pain?
I don't know. Let's go with yeet that 10 feet of chain into its like bladey situation, and I just want to gum up the works a little bit. Okay. I'm not really good in a fight, and I hate this. I just
go ahead and give me an attack. Go ahead and give me an attack spread.
Oh no. Okay.
Or actually, how about this? How about
that's okay.
It's kind of a strengthy thing. I'll say this: if you want, here's what I'm going to ask. I'll allow this to be a skill spread. It won't do damage, but it'll impose a condition. But you got to tell me how it's going to look and how it's going to work, and how grace is going to be the reason that this chain thing works. And you got to tell me specifically what you want to do.
Sweet. Grace is a pretty dexterous stat. I like that, and I think after his big the other guy's stupid monologue about the night, she like sets these lanterns up, and it's kind of a flashbangy situation that like she's able to use that like sudden burst of light as night is falling as a little bit of cover to grab the chain and like get around and just start getting in between some of those blades. And she just wants to try to like wrap it around and pull just to get him off kilter. Like he seems fast and he seems deadly, and she's not trying to do damage. She's just trying to like get around and buy the one that can do a hit a little bit more cover to be effective.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a grace spread. No skills apply as a bonus to this. I just need raw card numbers. You can burn sparks in this.
Sweet.
And I will say you got to get over 10, which is its health level. Which is
I'm not gonna.
Actually, no. That's not accurate.
That's
8.
Okay.
No. Actually, I'm looking at this. His defense is 8. Give me a grace spread of over 8. 3 cards. You should be able to get that. No problem.
Oh, bless your heart. Okay. Yeah, I'm very bad at this. So I've got a 4 and a 2, and I have to use inspiring. I'm hoping that her actions are telegraphed to Vale, that she's trying to buy her time and inspire her to do something better than she can pull off. And that puts me at a 7, and I'll burn a spark to get to 8 because I am very bad at this.
Okay. Oh wait, you're muted, Aaron.
I might be able to get you to 10 with heroic. I can discard at any time to add 3 to an ally spread.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I get you past 10. So here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and so here's what we're gonna do. Yes. Okay. Firstly, draw a card because you used an environmental effect, and then both of you scratch chain off your list of environmental effects.
Okay.
So go ahead and draw a card.
I will still. I will burn one additional spark. I'm very low in sparks now. To allow Vale to also draw a card.
Nice.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So you draw your card. You draw a card. You, as these chains, it's almost like second nature. You just realize, you're purpose driven. You know exactly what you need to do. Your hand goes and grabs the chain off the back of the carriage that Vale kicked in half, and you just start running. You take inspiration from Crash. You're inspired by her sacrifice and her unwavering sensibility of what she needed to do, and you're doing the same. And in such, that inspires Vale. And it's not just running around its legs. It's not an at. You're like jumping over and diving in through. You get nicked. It's not enough to reduce a wound, but I mean, you get cut, and there's a little bit of smoky blood kind of coming from it. And you're able to like tangle it in such a way to where a couple of the blades that are spinning, like almost like saw blades, stop and like are trying to cut through it, and it's trying to lurch in one direction and it can't. It's slowed it down. In doing so, it has revealed kind of like a weak joining spot. Girl, honey bear, what you need? Like a spot of oh my goodness. There you go, baby. There you go, baby. It reveals a weak spot. So here's what it's going to do. For the next round, it's incapacitated. And I will also say, oh no, babe. I will also say that the next attack on it will be brutal.
That's not gonna be me, Rama says while pulling.
Okay.
Just like lets go of the chain as it gets snapped up, like whoop.
All right. Is it my turn? All right. Bear with me here. I have Shadow Dancer, which allows me to use an environmental element to become hidden. Can I use Shadow Dancer to become hidden behind the wheel axle?
You absolutely can. And then if you want to make your attack then to inflict more damage, which I think your combat style allows, then
it does.
Then yeah, I would say I will allow that, sure.
Okay, so I'm going to use Frostbite.
Frostbite, your elemental fighting style you got when you leveled up into elemental.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot.
It's okay.
Forgot to show that.
Thank you.
New update. All right. 12 damage. Okay, but I get to use an additional card because of Shadow Dancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use Hidden Motion.
Okay.
Which will allow me to attack and remain hidden.
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That gives me 9 altogether. I'm going to burn a spark and bring it to 10.
Okay, good. So your attack is over 10. Okay, so 10 minus 8, which is its defense, leaves you at 2. However, this is brutal damage, so it absolutely reduces it down by 1 health level. You only have 2 more health level 10s to go. Oh, and shoot, it was supposed to go before you. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was incapacitated, so that allowed you to go. It's not going to become incapacitated now. I will say that hitting it with brutal damage, firstly, describe what that attack looks like. A frostbite attack that is brutal. What does that look like to Vale?
So Vale kind of ducks while Rama is wrestling with it. She's like, oh, crap, this can't happen. And she ducks behind the wheel, and she closes her eyes, and almost cold frost starts coming up her talons. If you remember, she has 2
the needles,
the 2 needles that she normally keeps in her shawl. and it's kind of starts to create a cloud of coldness. And when she opens her eyes, they've gone from gold to blue.
Mm-hmm.
And she rises up and kind of launches herself and stabs both needles directly into the soft spot. And then just as quickly as she appeared, she completely disappears again.
Got it. Okay. As it lands on that weakened spot, the frost transfers onto the metal. I know. It transfers onto the metal, and it immediately snaps what appears to be a connective piece of its main torso. Again, this thing is in perpetual motion. If you know the Lionsgate film logo, like you pass through that keyhole and you see all those gears and shit moving, that's what this thing just looks like all the time, except with sharp pointies. So you feel that once it's snagged, you were able to inflict that brutal damage. And that you're getting the sense that anytime this thing is in motion, it is incredibly hard to do damage to. But if you can find a way to incapacitate it, then your hits will be much more impactful, in theory. You've seen it happen once, you're not quite sure, but it's a good place to start. It's down to 2 health levels, both of 10 each. It is now its turn. Okay. So it's going to... Yeah. It's going to do its execute attack, and since you're hidden, it's going to do so on Rama.
What are you talking about? I'm great at this. Let's go.
That part breaks, and for a while, like a whole upper section of it is just spinning wildly. It is not a consistent silhouette. It is literally just a tangle of blades. This thing is unlike anything you've ever seen before. But as it does that, it breaks free of its bond, and almost like Leatherface spinning the chainsaw around its head, it's just this whirling dervish of blades and shittiness until it all seems to align in a straight line and come down at you for an attack of 12. I need a defense spread hitting 12.
I'm not gonna.
Give me a defense spread and see what happens.
4. It's all I got. My defense is Grace. I have 2 cards. One of them is Charming, which would be amazing if, 1, I didn't have 1 spark left before I would just die, and 2, if there was another person I could redirect this attack to,
so
which I don't have.
Here's one thing both you and I forgot, which was when Crash died, as any Phoenix who dies from wounds, but not from the completion of sparks, she bonded to you as an attendant spirit.
Oh, I forgot that.
Which means her sparks, and I believe she was at 6, are now yours. Traditionally, sparks cannot be used in a defense spread unless they're sparks from an attendant spirit. Now, when you burn through these sparks, she goes to the crucible and she begins her trials. But for now, as your sparks feel low, you feel bolstered by the sudden remembrance of her sparks in your spark pool. You have 6 attendant sparks to spill or to utilize for defense if you like, or for other purposes. So you said your spread was what? 4?
4. It's not enough.
It's not going to get there. But this is not an all or nothing attack. Any defense you can get, we will then, that will be divided amongst your health levels. So this is how we're going to calculate damage. Spend as many or as little as you want, entirely on you. You let me know the final number you want to go with.
What a nightmare. And there's literally no one else in this stupid Stabby Boys eye line. Like,
nope.
I feel bad saying there's a horse. Can I get it to attack the horse instead?
Yes.
I feel I would like to burn one of Crash's sparks. The attacker must select a new target if one is available. I'm so sorry, horse. Please attack the horse.
Here's what I'm going to say. This is a different kind of spread. So
you shouldn't have mentioned the horse.
No. Okay, here's what I'll say. How many cards do you have in your hand right now?
2.
Are either of them a Grace?
Oh, my entire hand is 3 cards.
Okay, so what's remaining in your hand?
Literally, A 3 of grace, my charming 1 grace, and my cursed intellect.
Okay. Discard
Nothing
cursed.
great.
No, it's okay. So your defense spread stands at 4. You
Okay.
burned a spark to get you to 5. Discard cursed.
Okay.
And then so you're not going to have an attack. Well, firstly, after your last attack, did you draw back up?
Probably not, because I'm very stressed out.
Make sure at the end of your attack, you draw back up to your hand. So draw 2 cards now.
Okay.
Because I don't want to leave you with nothing.
Okay, so a 3 and a 4 in intellect.
Okay, great. So discard cursed. The cards you use for your defense spread, totaling 4. Burn a spark for 5. I'll say because you discarded cursed, part of your defense is ducking behind this horse. Who will add 5 to your defense spread?
Sorry, buddy.
In the worst way imaginable. So that means the damage it gets through is 2.
Yeah, okay.
Execute has a multiplier of 2, meaning the total damage coming at your face is 4.
Okay.
Which is 2 health levels.
Oh, it didn't matter. I died anyway.
Are you dead? I thought you had 3 health levels.
No, I have 2.
Oh, yeah, you're dead.
Cool, I died.
You get to narrate your own death.
Amazing.
And you took a horse out with you.
No! Can I spare the horse? I feel bad now.
Nope. You made the choice. I get to describe the horse part.
Okay, that's
You can
fine.
describe your part. It cuts through. It's tracking you almost like missile lock. You dive behind the horse, and the horse isn't there to it. And the horse gets completely vivisected. Content warning for cruelty on animals, obviously. But like the horse doesn't make it.
Yeah.
But you are on the other side of the horse. So what do you see in that moment?
I think she dove behind the horse, but did the extra dumb thing of having her back up against the horse, and doesn't see the blade that the blade that comes down that unfortunately does a hurt on the horse. She avoids it on the shoulder, but kind of forgot in her panic that this thing is lots of blades, and then feels that sudden sting through her spine, and everything goes numb, and she looks down, and a blade that was low pierced through, and looks down and just shakes her head, and her talon goes dark. That other lantern that was attached to the carriage goes dark, and I think she drops those last 2 levels of shadow and goes completely to night and just slumps over.
And as you do, your body falls into ash. And then something interesting happens. Your sparks that become free, that become visible to another phoenix in nearby eyesight, instead of going to you to bond as an attendant spirit to you, Vale, they get vacuumed into the blade storm, which grows in size. It does not regain health levels. It has still got 2 health levels left, but it is now physically massive. Vale. And with that, Rama, you descend into the Crucible, where next session we will determine and resolve that. Vale, you are hidden. They cannot see you. It is needless to say that you will not survive a one-on-one encounter with this blade storm. You've also gained enough actionable intelligence to know that this thing was here for you, both. And to fight it would not go great. You have an opportunity to escape. If you want to escape now to the ship, you would be able to get down there in time. Based on how you've seen this thing move, you can get down there in time to possibly outrun this thing and get on the boat and go home without this thing getting on the boat and joining you. If you want to claim your colleague's ashes, as well as you have the other ashes, you did the inspection on that, so you've got those ashes there. She has her ashes as well as the ashes of Crash on her. I will say you'd have to do a skill check to stealthily obtain those. And if you do that, then I will let you escape as a free action and get to the boat. But you got to do a grace check that is essentially a stealth check with a minimum of 15. And the higher you can go on it, the better. And by the way, if you haven't drawn back up to your hand size, please draw back up to your hand size because your combat round ended. Okay? That probably made things a little bit better. You're also muted.
What's the card limit on skill spreads?
3. Unless you can
3.
use a trait card to justify narratively how it goes, and then that it can either be that point value or more if you tell me a good tale.
I might have one for you.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So Vale is hearing this, and she's starting to lose it. There's a lot of lines that have been crossed here for her today. The sacrifice, both by of the town and of the other driver, that doesn't sit well with her at all because of how she died. Seeing her companions get offed one after another, and they don't even really understand what's happening, and they're clearly being hunted, and no matter what she does and how early she sees it, she can't stop it. That's not sitting well with her either. So Vale is on her last stand. She's grabbing that shit. Pardon my language.
No, you're fine.
And she's running for the boat, and she's daring him to stop her. So, let's see. I get to draw one more card. And it's another grace, and it's haunted. Oh boy, is she haunted for all the reasons I just described. So.
Literally, you have an echo of the chant with you as well, and you've died before.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of reasons there. Yeah.
Okay. When you use this card in a spread, one of your wingmates may discard a card and draw a new card to replace it. But does that apply here since my wingmates are dead?
No.
So then it's a wash and it's just one. So one from that.
I'm going to give you a bonus of 3 on that one because haunted. If there is something that like speaks true to Vale right now, haunted is it.
Okay.
I think haunted is probably aligns with a long-term story arc for you. So I'm going to say that anytime you draw haunted in this perspective, in this way, it's probably going to be worth 3.
You know what? I just read more carefully, and if I do that, I die, and that defeats the purpose.
I was going to say.
Yeah, sorry. I read that twice, and I keep missing that.
No, but here's the thing, and this is a great discussion for these things. So, the point value, the text, and then the mechanical text are really 3 separate elements. So, if you're saying to me, last stand, you don't want to die. You're saying to me, last stand, you want to use this as a way to make your escape. I will narratively make that work. Say the card is worth 3 and not apply the mechanical benefit.
Okay.
Yep.
So then, am I at 6 or am I at 3 bonus for haunted plus the face value of last stand?
Yeah, 3 bonus for haunted. I'll give you 2 for last stand. That'll get you to 5.
That'll give me to 5.
And then you can use 3 cards that are not trait cards. So if you have 3 grace cards, or
I do.
So you got 7 there, and then you got 5 there. That's 12. It's a skill check. If there's ever a time to burn sparks, now is the time to get you to 15.
What was I at?
You're at 12. You need to get to 15.
13, 14, 15. I'll burn those 3.
How many sparks you have left after that?
5.
Okay, good. So here's what I'll say. You it's almost as like hi. It's almost as you've made her very upset. It's almost as if this is, you got one shot, and it's almost like in World War I, they would peek out from the trenches and try to make little trench runs without getting caught in no man's land. That's what this is. You're hidden now. The direction to go straight back to the boats is clear, but to get the ashes come back and then make your way out, you're not sure. You do it so quick. Haunted by the last time you died. Haunted by your friend, the forceful, who was not fast enough to get out of there. Haunted by all these horrific visions. The echo of the chant still in the back of your mind. As you're trying to calm yourself down, you just hear that, don't listen, like that's starting to take hold before you kick it back. You run, you grab it as it seems to be scanning. It doesn't have eyes, but it's obviously doing something to perceive. and you're off. You burn your sparks to do so, and the scent of sparks, you see its body jerk, but it doesn't seem to track or follow you. And you're off, carrying 3 vials of ashes, your wingmates, your other wingmates, your other wingmates, and this 4th vial of ashes. And you're looking down and holding this tight to your chest, running down a hill. You make your way down to the docks. The Windari captain, tall, bald head, ebony skin, dried salt matted throughout his seafaring clothes, sees you and sees those vials of those canisters in your hands. And as soon as he sees you making your way, sprinting as fast as you can, he immediately turns to his crew. They immediately start pulling rope, start breaking sail, start detaching from the dock. They're loose from the dock. You jump onto the boat. They immediately throw a blanket over you. You don't need it, but it's a nice thought. The captain bends over and goes, "Mama, you in pursuit? Are you being chased? Are you being followed?"
You would know if I was. Look behind me.
He looks out, brings out a very basic pair of binoculars. "Road's clear, but it's too much for me. We're going now." And they push off. And the night is clear and crisp and still in front of you, reflecting the stars in the sky, as you, the first to die, now holds the remnants of the death of the rest of your wing, heading back to Pyre and hopefully some goddamn answers.
Yeah.
And with that, we will wrap tonight's mission, as mission 002 finally comes to a conclusion.
We did a great job. I think we nailed it.
Call trap.
I think we did a good job. I think it went totally to plan.
Totally the plan. We're going to do, so Abria, we're going to do your level up in between weeks, in between games. And again, we are not live next week. Please go vote. We'll be back on November 10th with that. Abria, I will end this mission tonight by saying a couple different things. You died to a secret. You obviously died for others because that's who you are as a devoted Phoenix at your core. You don't know what caused this thing, so there are some secrets involved. You don't even know what a blade storm is.
Yeah.
You died because you weren't strong enough, and you died because you weren't fast enough.
Oh, cool, sweet. Thanks. Thanks,
So
buddy.
you have some choices. You have some choices here. You can come back. I would say you can come back as a Durant. You can obviously continue your path as a devoted, or as a forceful.
Do I have to pick now, or can I decide
No,
later?
God, no.
Okay.
We're gonna do a whole thing, probably on Discord or something like. But please let us know in chat what you think. What you think Rama should come back as? Let us know if you're familiar with the game. Great. If you're familiar with the game, don't spoil anything to it, by the way. But if you're familiar with the mechanics of the game, your level up progression is through how you died. So let us know either here or in the Discord. Please let us know. And until then, until November 10th, hopefully we come back to a better world as we try to figure out answers for Wing 023, like what the hell their name is. But until then, Dawn Command, Fallout.